Hey guys, it's day 61 part 2 of the devlog. It's a quiet one, it's a Thursday night, and we're going to work on our show and hide, our pawn. Okay? Now, the interesting part of this is we want to generate the HUD, right? But what we don't want to do is we don't want to show it initially, and we don't want to start, we do not want to start like the timers. So from there, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at our begin play to see where we're starting things up, including timers, etc., and then basically take it from there. Okay, so with that in mind, let's have a look at the begin play. Right, so we're fading in scene from black. We're initializing the camera. I don't think we even need to do that. And I don't think we need to do this either. But we'll leave it there for now. Especially we don't want to be doing it at this rate. Okay? Now, what we now need to be able to do is, this is the part that actually creates our widgets. Okay? So this does the opening of the two widgets left and right to do our scene, right? Plays the animations obviously. And we don't draw the HUD or the compass. Okay, so we're going to delete that. Okay, now what we're doing here is we're not going to switch the camera, right? We need to do like the switch on HUD, okay? But the switch on HUD is not going to update HUD. Okay? When we initially switch on the HUD, we're going to do this in a different place. Okay? So, we're going to have to change this slightly. So this is going to come out. Okay. And this visibility is going to be hidden. Okay. So we're going to hide it before we add it to the viewport, so there's not like a little flicker of a milliframe or whatever that shows this, because we don't want that to happen. Okay. We want it to basically be shown as invisible. Okay. So we'll drag that down a bit. We'll drag this down a bit. Okay. Drag these over a bit. That'll do. Right. So we've got that. And the other one is going to be draw the compass, right? Which we are also going to do exactly the same thing with. Right? So in here, we're not going to do anything but what we're going to do is we're going to create this, then we're going to set visibility to hidden. Now the important thing here is that we are actually going to add it to the viewport, but we're not going to update it yet, right? So what we'll do is when we want to do the initialization and bring these up, right, we can, and then we basically start the process. Okay, so these two things are going to be the process that gets started. Okay. And the important part is actually, we could actually put this in. Right, we could actually put this in. Right? Because that's going to get our initial position, right? And if they move again, then the movement turn is going to take care of the actual updating of this, right? So that's actually fine. Okay. So that's okay. Now, what we need to do is we need to do our EMS action. Okay? So when we save the game, that we know if it's running or not. Okay? So, tired tonight. If we go, the easiest one to check is a door, right? And we'll see how we done it with the door, and then we'll do the exact same thing. Right. So we've got event EMS action, right? And I'm pretty sure that this is going to be in here. Let's have a look. And that's in the overlaps. Yep, there we have EMS action. Right, so we bind to the EMS action. Okay. And the thing that calls the EMS action is the pawn. Right? So what we need to do is go back to our pawn, and I think we'll put it in actions, right? So we can basically say EMS action, and it's actually it's an event dispatcher, right? Event. Is it? Well, we'll have to see how we call a event dispatcher within ourselves. Do we need to bind it to ourselves, or do we don't call it, because that's calling it on everything else, right? So it's got to be one of these. Create an event with the, yeah, let's try that. So then we check if the HUD is running. Right? So we branch off of this. I really want to see if this is actually going to run, right? Okay. And the next thing we're going to do if it's true, then we basically say to open, right? We basically W main HUD, and we get this as well. It's not that one, it's this one. So that's BP HUD. So Is this W main HUD? Nope. Right, hang on a second here. Now, this is the main HUD, right? And what it's got is the attributes. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to see that main HUD to see what it's got. Right? BP HUD. Right, so what is this? I'm thinking that this is now harkening back to the old code. Right? Now, that can't be the only place that we're doing this. Where is it? It would appear that what we're gonna have to actually do here is rewrite the whole, or get rid of this, right? And find out where the hell it is. Because as you see, the only place that we reference this is in here. Right? And the default is nothing. Okay? So, where is BP HUD? As I said, I've got a sneaking suspicion that this is legacy. And it is basically rubbish. Right, so we want to browse to this. Well, here it's here. BP HUD is not an actual HUD. Or sorry, BP HUD is not a BP. It's a widget. Which is obviously confusing. Right? Now, so it appears, right, that this should not be called BP HUD. This should be called W HUD, right? So, in our event graph, we have absolutely nothing. Right? And that suggests that we don't do anything with it. Right, now this is absolutely definitely not the correct thing, right? This appears to be legacy code, okay? Right, because you can see here whatever this is, well, it's obviously doing south, east, north, west, right? So it's doing some weird, wacky stuff. Right? But if we look at the designer, it doesn't do anything. Okay, there's nothing to it. So I'm beginning to think that this BP HUD is actually not used. Because if you look at this, right, we have our widgets, right? These are our individual widgets, right? And it comes under main HUD. But we never set our main HUD. Right? So this should actually not be this type. Right? Because here's the thing, right? I'm just trying to go through this logically, right? When we draw the HUD, okay, we draw it here. This is it. And basically what this does is it draws all the individual parts apart from the compass, right? Which we could probably also do in there. But either way, this should become the HUD. So what I'm going to do, right, and I'm going to see, right, what I'll do first is I'll add a widget, right, and that's no widget, so we're not going to add that. Yeah, okay, whatever. Right, so we're going to add a main HUD. Okay, and it's going to be W underscore main HUD. Right? Now, when we draw the HUD, we're going to set this. Okay? Right? We can do that. We can do that. Then we can join that to there and remove that. Okay, so this now becomes the main HUD. Okay, Now, if we look at the main HUD, we just do that. Right, remember we're not doing this yet. This is actually starting up timers, right? So, we've got that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be careful about this, right? Right, I'm going to switch this off. In fact, everything relating to switching off and on the HUD, I'm just going to remove it for now. Okay, so that we can go through this step by step. Right. Let me just check something. Right. So let's see. Right, we don't do anything with that. So we'll move this down because this is to do with our starting stuff and stopping stuff. Right, bow animation, place arrow, bow animation, no arrow. Right, so this is our initial thing. Okay. So if we save all, from earlier, we set up a button to do this. And it shouldn't do anything at the moment. Right? So, if we hit L, there we go, nothing happens, right? Which is exactly what I expected. So, if we switch on the HUD, this is not going to start the timers. Okay, at the moment it's not going to start the timers. All it's going to do is bring up our HUD, hopefully. Where are we? Press it there, L. Right, so that's not doing it. That's fine, I'm not worried about that yet. What I'm going to do is we're going to add a breakpoint, and that is basically because of this, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to delete that, and we're going to delete that, then we're going to delete that. Okay. And then show, no, it's switch on HUD. Okay. So if one remembers correctly, we're not starting our timers. Right? And we're not making them visible. Okay? At this point. So we actually need to do that, right? So we are not going to do that. Okay. And then in our compass, we're not going to do that one. Right? So we're going to hide that as well. As I said, we're going to do this step by step to make sure we do it properly. Okay. Then we're going to press play. Then we're going to check what works and what doesn't. Right, so we're switching on the HUD. Okay. So we resume. There is our compass, but we do not have our thing on the right here. Now you'll notice that it did it after the fact. Right? So if I press that, right, it goes into here, but there's something not quite right, because it isn't visible. Right? So if we step into this, we create it, right? And we need to make sure that these things are visible. Right? From within this HUD. Okay, so for some reason right, we've added to viewport, which is fine. And you'll notice the compass is showing, but this isn't. Right, but if I hit it again, it comes up. So when we draw that HUD, I'm just wondering here if this update HUD does something, or this widget does something, that it starts invisible for some reason when I made it. Okay, so we're going in here, right? We're doing absolutely squat diddly. And it has attributes on it, right here. So we need to edit that, go to our graph, right, And it adds these to the grid. Okay. Clock, energy, blah blah blah. Right? So it does all this stuff fine. And I'm guessing that this is on event play. So the question is this set to invisible to start with? No. Nope, it's not. Which is a strange one. Right? If we go to here again. Right, this is Hi Daily Artist. Yeah, it's Unreal Engine 4. Good observation. So I don't quite understand why, unless this update has got something to do with it, right? Which it shouldn't. I'll tell you what we'll do, right? We'll try something. I'm going to try this just as a little test. Right? I'm going to see if this update HUD has got something in it that makes it disappear. 0.1. And it's not going to loop. Right? So we save that. Right. So we're drawing that. Right. Now, the really bizarre thing, well, it's not really bizarre to be honest, but is the compass comes up, right? But that's not as like a sub. Now, the interesting thing, of course, is if I hit it again, it suddenly becomes visible. Right? Paint me confused by this, because this was done so long ago that I'm now, why is it, doesn't make any sense. Well, it kind of does, but kind of doesn't. It would appear to me that this right, I'm going to have to investigate update HUD, okay, to see what it does. Right. I tell you what I'm going to do, right? It's this main HUD here, right? This attributes. Yeah, look at that. It's got a Z order of 10 anyway. That's bizarre. Right. Right, we need to look at update HUD. Now I'm wondering, right, let's try something, right? I'm going to try something. Right, this might be completely stupid, but we'll try it anyway. Right, we're going to do that. We're going to do that. Then, just for a laugh, visible. Right, we're going to do that. Okay. Then we'll basically put it in there. And this is just freaky, but anyway. Right, and let's see if it does it. Or if we still get the same. Right, so you're doing that, and it's still not showing. Okay. Right, so that doesn't make any sense at all. That makes zero sense. Wait a minute. Right. Okay. What? Right. I'm thinking here. That our HUD is not switched on. Because it doesn't have a reference to the pawn for some unknown reason. I absolutely want to see what this HUD is saying. Right? Now, I wonder. Okay, we'll press play. Right? We'll press. Right, first of all, we'll get our pawn. Right? Then we'll not do that. Right. So we're going to be looking for HUD. And it's nothing. That's right. At this moment, that should be nothing. Right? If I hit L, resume, that did not work. Right? Now, if I run it again, step over, resume, that's still nothing. What's going on there? Is this going to be one of those, I'm going to be a super silly Oh, it's because I'm a bleeding idiot. We're not using WHUD. We should be looking at main HUD. Right? So what we're going to do is we're going to get main HUD. Right? And we're going to paste that. It's going to be that. And for some reason, right, we're going to press play. We're going to click on there. Then we're going to hit L. And we're going to resume. And there we have it. We've got our thing. But the problem is that for some reason it's not visible, right? Now, if I do this and do that again, it becomes visible, but I don't understand why it isn't visible in the first place, right? Because I'm certainly setting it to visible, and we're setting it to visible here. Right? That is bizarre. So we're going to take that off. That should just go to there. I don't get this. This is a weird one. This is very weird indeed, folks. This is like a, it shouldn't be happening. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do that, right? And I'm going to put it on looping. And I'm going to see if our actual thing appears or if it stays basically invisible. And we'll see if update HUD actually has an effect. Update HUD does not have an effect on that at all. But notice, if I press L again, it comes up. Right? That is unbelievably weird. Let's try something else, right? Well, I can't do it here. Right? Okay. Try something else. I'm just trying to get to the bottom of this, guys. This is a really, really head scratcher. There's no reason why this should not work. Or no obvious reason, that's for sure. If I put a delay in, right, so let's just throw a delay in. Is it some weird delay crap? Right, let's make it delay 2 seconds. Just as a little test here. But this should have absolutely zero effect. Alright, L. Resume. Well, there's your answer. There's something stopping it. There's something stopping it actually showing here. Now, whether it's... I'm going to disable that, right? We'll pull it down to a second. Hi, Year HDYT. How are you doing, bud? Right, so... something... definitely something awfully weird. Yeah, it works with a delay. Right. Right. Now, I wonder... if it still works like that. Okay. Yep. Yep. So there must be some reference somewhere that it was screwing up. Right? Now, the only thing I can think of, right, is when we were doing this, that this variable was not available, right? That is the only thing that I can see that would make that possible. Okay? But it is very, very... that was absolutely bonkers strange. Right? Now, what I need to do now is HUD running has to get set. Okay? And we basically set that. Okay? So if we do this now, okay, we press play. Now we're going to do a save test in a second, but if I hit that, right, our HUD is now running. Okay, now the next thing we need to do after that really weird issue is get this EMS action. Okay, and if the HUD is running, right? We basically say switch on HUD. Now, this is going to be slightly different from hiding the HUD, right? Because hiding the HUD, we want the HUD running, right? But we don't want to show it, right? So it's still going to be updating and stuff, but we don't want to show it, okay? Whereas activating the HUD is actually drawing the HUD, starting it up, telling it that we've started it up, and then that can be a save variable so that when we come back here, right, and we do our EMS action, right, we can actually switch back on the HUD. So we need to find out how we save again, which is up here somewhere. Right, that's not it. That's not it. And we don't want this anymore. That is right. So we press 8. Right. We'll duplicate that. Right, and we'll change this to 5. Or let's say, yeah, 5. 5 will load, okay? And wait a minute. We'll just do both. Right. So this is going to save it. This is going to load it. So if we press play, right, we're going to save. Okay. And then we're going to load. Okay, we're going to save. Then we're going to escape. Right, and then we're going to play. Right, now I was expecting our EMS thing to fire. Okay. Now it might be just as simple as I've got to bind it to myself as well, right? So if we were to do that, because this should be firing, okay, if it's working correctly, because at the end of this, right, we load EMS. Now the question is, where do we fire it? Right. And that's it on there. Nope, that isn't it actually. I can't remember my own code. Right, so we've got this. Right, now find references. Call EMS action. Right, so it's there, right? Now, the interesting thing, this is for the actors. Right? So, okay, what I need to check here is, I need to find out if this is actually running. Right? So, we press play. Okay, we need this. Now, we've got HUD running, right? This is the important one. So we do L, right? HUD is running. Okay, I'm pointing it out for you, so I'm betting you can see that through the power of the internet that I'm pointing at the screen. So HUD is running, okay? Then we basically save it. Right, now that should have saved that the HUD was running. So when I load this up again, the HUD should be running again, okay? But it's not. Okay. That might be a slight misrepresentation of things here, right? Because if we've not picked a save game, right, and we're not starting it for the main menu, that might be screwing us up. Right, now, I'm not saying it is, but I'm saying it might be. Okay, so we're going to have to go into here and I don't know if this is going to actually work or not, but we're going to try it. Right, so we're going to say new game and we're going to say HUD because we're testing the HUD. Right, now what we want to do is press L. Okay, then we're going to bring this down a bit, get to our pawn, wherever it is. Right, where's the blooming pawn? Right, there we go. Right, so the HUD is running. Right, and we're going to go back to here. Okay, then we're going to do this. Okay, So we're going to hit 8. And that should save the HUD running. Okay. Now, what we'll do in the meantime is, just to prove that this is working, we're going to pick up that. We're going to pick up that, right? And then we're going to save it again, right? And then we're going to exit. Okay. Then we're going to press play. And we're going to say continue. That's interesting. Okay. We're going to press play. We're going to say load game in HUD. Okay. Now, go to inventory. Nothing in it. So that's not working. Where it was before. Okay. Right, let's stop that. Let's run it again. We're going to press load game, HUD. Now, wow. Wow. Didn't destroy them. Right. Okay. So our loading and saving has went to the crapper, basically. Which is awesome, obviously. So we need the game instance. Okay, game instance. Right. Okay, so it's not that. Get current slot name. Right. That can go in there. That can go in there. Compile that. Question is it loading the right game? That's the question here. And it's rather obvious that it's not. Or something's going on with the saving. Right, so if we load a game, we select HUD. None. That would explain it. Okay, whatever. Right. So this has been a bit of a disaster. We found out that our loading isn't working, and our saving probably is working but might not be. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to get my saved games, right? Wait, you see, I'm going to get the saved games, right? And I'm going to delete them all. Okay. Then I'm going to press play. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to open up the test map again. Now, this was in fact working, and I don't know why suddenly it isn't. But either way, right, we've got a game called None, right? Now, if I take them, then these should be now added to a list of removed items, okay? And then when I press 8, it should save. Okay? Player actors, level actors. Resume. Okay? Now, I'm going to stop it. Now that's happening because I'm event ticketed the game instance, and it takes a second to get the instance loaded by the pawn. Okay, but the point being now that we should have a file called None. Right, and then this player should have some data in it. Right? Now, if we load this and start this up again, right, these should have disappeared. If we load the stuff back up for this level, right? So if I hit 5, you'll notice that she jumps, okay? So if I do that, right, and press 8, resume, okay, then if I run back, okay, and I press escape, if I press play, right, and then I'll load again, which is 5. Yep, you see how I jump over to here where I was? Right, so it is saving, but for some reason it isn't saving these plates as taken. Right? Which kind of suggests a couple of things. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press L. Right? So our HUD comes up. Right? Now we've got HUD running. Okay? We're going to press save, because that's going to save her, the player controller, which is the pawn. Right, so we've saved. Right, we've saved. This is it here. Resume. Okay, and we've got HUD running. Now I'm going to stop it. Right? And if we click on this, all we need to do is click on that to make sure that saves. Okay? So, disable breakpoint. Right? Now this should all be loading automatically because it should be set, right? I'm not going to argue about it in particular, but if I click on that, right, HUD running, nothing. If I load, we have HUD running, okay? And I'm pointing at it again for no apparent reason. So, that works, okay? It actually works. But for some reason, right, here's the interesting part to all of this. Right? In here, right, we have destroyed. Okay? And if we click on it to show it, right, compile that, run it. Okay. Now, if we go into here, and we type in destroyed actors, right, we've got nothing, right? So let's see if this is actually adding them. So if we take that, notice that we've got something, okay? Notice we've got something, right? We've got our destroyed actors, food 1, food 2, right? Now these are soft references, right? So this is okay, right? But there's 2 points to keep in mind here. Now I save it, right? And now I escape it, right? Now if I run it, okay, these should have destroyed themselves, right? So if I press 5, I load everything, then I go to the Groenland, then our inventory has that, our food has the correct things, but our food it looks like we're not loading unless we press the load button, right? And we should be. right? Unless I was doing this in some other weird way, right? But in the begin play, right, there's we're setting the current save slot, right? Now the problem is here that is probably going to say none, right? Displacement, get all actors of class. Get all actors of class. Right, here you go. Load EMS and destroy actors, right? So we really need to see if this is running. And we kind of think it is. Right? Is this actually loading? This doesn't even look like it loads. Ah, yeah, it does. It's okay. We're checking our destroyed actors here. Right, but the problem is we've actually changed this for actions and we haven't actually right, we call EMS action. Right, but if we've not loaded the correct stuff, this is going to be nothing. Right? Which is a bit of a problem, really. So it actually doesn't matter if in fact the door would open, right? The problem with this is once it's completed it calls the action, right? Which means that this door is going to open because it'll probably, well, I don't know, since we've taken the key, right? Or since we now need a key to do it, right? But if we save it now, right? Then we escape. And then we press play. Right? I'm going to guess that this has got nothing in it. Yep. So it's just going to jump straight to here. Right? But, yeah, and the door isn't open. Okay, so that's going to be a problem for another day. I'm going to call it there, guys. It's a quiet night and it's pretty cold, so I'm going to get to it. So if you enjoyed the stream, hit like and subscribe. I shall be back at 2 PM tomorrow afternoon. Okay, and basically check out the description for links to the Discord server, my personal Discord server, Patreon, and finally my previous game on Steam. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye for now.